Here's the thing with game development. In theory, you know how to make a game. You know you should start with taking your time, doing some research, creating some prototypes, getting feedback. You know you should pick a small scope and craft a generous production plan with a lot of additional buffer time. You even know you should show your game off early, do a lot of playtesting and keep iterating your gameplay frequently. However, once I start making a game, I simply forget all of that. I go for the first idea that comes to my mind because it feels like the best idea ever. I don't show my game off early because I just want to add one little thing before I do so. Maybe even one more. I don't get any feedback because the game's not ready to be judged. The scope of my game gets bigger and bigger because I constantly add new features that are supposed to fix certain design flaws, and I don't even have a precise production plan. So in theory, you know how you should go about making a game. But as soon as you get started, you stop listening to your own advice. Is that just me? Or has that happened to you as well? Is there any kind of inconsistency between how you make games and how you think you should go about making games? Or are those two in sync for you? For me personally, this definitely seems to be a big issue, because the knowledge you have about game development becomes absolutely, utterly useless when you don't use it. The issue definitely isn't resolved yet, but at the very least I have a couple of ideas how I want to tackle this problem from now on. If you have any ideas how to go about this, please share them in the comments now, because that would be of great use, not only for me, but also for other developers who struggle with the same issue. Solution 1. One thing you could do is write a very detailed plan how you think the workflow of creating your next game should look like before you get started, because once you're at it, you're in tunnel vision mode and it's too late. Then after that, during development, just strictly follow your own guidelines. For me personally, they would probably look something like this. Step 1. Search for a ton of different game ideas and inspiration for 1 week. Step 2. Create at least 10 digital prototypes over the course of 2 weeks. Step 3. Pick the 2 most promising prototypes and continue improving them for about 1 week each, and so on. This is not a discussion about what the best way of making your game is, because there are a ton of different workflows you can use and they're not necessarily better or worse than each other. This is just about getting your knowledge in sync with your actions and writing your knowledge down, turning it into a couple of actionable points you can follow step by step might be a good way to achieve that. I'm curious, do you think this method would work? And what is the step-by-step process you would use for making your next game? Solution 2. Another way to get your knowledge in sync with your actions could be to find people that hold you accountable for your actions. I've definitely noticed that whenever I work in a team, the development process is a lot more structured and streamlined than in my solo projects. When you're suddenly super excited for an idea and want to dive right into coding the first level, for example, it's nice to have somebody who tells you, hold on a second, there are a couple of other things we should try first. And later on, when that same person wants to skip the playtesting because the game isn't ready, you can be the one who intervenes and says, hold on, we agreed we'd do this and there's still going to be a lot of useful intel, so let's go through with it. This way it should be way easier to stay on track. How can you do this when you don't work in a team though? Do you have any suggestions? I'd say you should probably tell your audience or your friends about your values and your workflow so they can hold you accountable when your behavior differs from what you originally set out to do. Do you think that works? What's the best way to go about this in your opinion? Once again, curious to hear your thoughts. Solution 3. Simply take some time to reflect on your actions every week. A thing I might try is just sitting down every Friday for half an hour and thinking about whether my actions are still in sync with my knowledge. And if that's not the case, I can try to correct the course in the next week. Once again, I'm not sure how well that would work though. Maybe it would be necessary to write a short checklist that I can go through every week. Something like, no feature creep, check. No overscoping, check. At least one playtest with somebody else than me, check. Still in the timeline, check. Try different solutions for my design problems, check, and so on. What do you think about this method? Do you think this would work? Which one of the 3 methods I suggested do you think is the most promising? It's really surprising that this is a problem. It's so stupid. Knowledge is supposed to make you smarter. Why does knowledge not make you smarter? Why? This is Jonas and I document the entire journey to becoming a game developer. Feel free to subscribe if you found this video mentally stimulating, and see you in the next one. Bye!